everybody? Welcome to week 31 here on the 52 Horrific Weeks in 1981 series. I am your host, Moon616, and thank you once again for joining me here this week. Alrighty, so like I did in all the other previous weeks, put the remaining films that I have for the 81 series into the randomizer, press random, and we've got Midnight, a movie that was written and directed by John A. Russo, of course, of Night of the Living Dead fame. He wrote the screenplay for that film, author of Return of the Living Dead, and among things. And this movie is also featuring special effects by Tom Savini, actually, too, so. But yeah, getting into the plot of this one, it follows a girl named Nancy. She's having, she's having some issues at home. Her stepfather is a police officer with a drinking problem, and in the beginning of the film, he comes home one day really drunked up and shit, and tries to take advantage of her. So she's had enough. She hits him over the head with something, knocks him out, and she's, poof, gone. She packs her shit and she's fucking hitchhiking. She decides that she's gonna make her way to California to go live and stay with her sister and pursue different things in life over there. So she starts to make her way on the road, and she gets picked up by these two younger fellas, and basically they're on their way down to Fort Lauderdale. So they're going to give her a ride a little bit of the way, I guess. I'm not really too sure exactly the geographics of this, but that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. But anyways, so they pick her up, and basically what they're doing is they're kind of making their way on the road by, stealing food and stuff like that. So anyway, she gets all mixed up with them, and so they're actually like pretty nice guys, but like I said, they're kind of small time crooks. Anyways, they come to this one hick town, and they of course are not liked by the town folk. One of the guys is a black guy, and the other guy's a white guy, and of course the black people are not accepted around this neighborhood, so they're told to get the fuck out of there. So they go and rip off the grocery store. They get pursued by the police officers. They eventually end up escaping them, and they make their way to this camp kind of area to go camp and stuff. They wake up the next day with these two police officers hounding them, and basically what happens is they get iced out. They get killed by these two police officers. They were talking some shit about they killed somebody and shit like that, but they really didn't. Anyways, they get killed, and of course Nancy gets taken hostage. It turns out that these police officers are actually part of this fucked up family, the satanic family that's trying to resurrect their dead mom by sacrificing women and whatever. They're trying to resurrect their mom. They're sacrificing women to the devil to resurrect their dead mom. So yeah, and that's what it comes to. That is the plot of the film. My thoughts on this one. Now, the direction isn't too bad in this. I find the story's a little weak for John Russo. I think he could have done a lot better. The story's not really there. There's no. I mean, you could have really just put anything into the story here. Oh yeah, we're sacrificing women to resurrect our dead mom. It's kind of like this backwoods fucking redneck kind of hillbilly shit. It could have went any way, really. You could have went with the story. The problem is with this movie is that it's really slow paced. There's not really a lot of action. Tom Savini definitely didn't have a lot of work to do in this. There's not a lot of special effects going on. Because the kills are very minimal. They're not that great. But yeah, the pacing of this movie is really slow and shitty. It's just, it actually is quite boring. There's really nothing to it. The payoff isn't really there. There's not that much drama and horror to the actual story of this. You kind of take it for what it is. There's really nothing. There's no shock value to this. It's just whatever. But yeah, overall it's just it's a very kind of bland film. Very bland. There's not really a lot to offer. There's not a lot of replay value in this. It's boring. The score is very cheesy in this movie. Like I said, Johnny Russo's direction in the movie wasn't too bad. He doesn't do, but I think the story was just so weak that there was really not a lot to work with, which is interesting that he wrote this too. So, yeah, I mean, as for, the police officers, they're fucked up. They have another, I guess he would be like a brother. He's, kind of a mute in this film. All he does is laugh and shit. He kills off a couple random people in this movie, which is totally just feels like it was put into the movie, just for, to add a little bit more of the horror elements to it, and maybe a little bit of body count too. But it was really unnecessary to have. When the one brother kills off this priest and his daughter in the film, I don't know, but it's not that enjoyable. Like, I just found myself going, is this movie over? Is this movie over again? This is only the second time I've ever watched the movie. I watched it when I first got this released by Arrow, and yeah, it is what it is. It's not that great. Getting to the actual release by Arrow, I'm not actually that impressed with this release, to be honest. If the transfer just feels like a glorified VHS transfer, it's very washed out. I mean, unless that's what they were trying to go with. They weren't trying to spruce it up a little or that much, but it's a full screen transfer. It feels like a fucking just glorified VHS transfer. It's not really that great, but it feels old. This movie feels like it was filmed in the 70s. Really washed out and kind of dingy and stuff, and just not that exciting. It's not that exciting. If I had to rate this one, I definitely wouldn't recommend this movie. It's really boring. I'd probably give it about a 4.5 out of 10. It's just, the problem is it doesn't have any replay value. There's not enough story there. There's nothing there. There's nothing to keep your attention. So, yeah, Midnight. Not overly impressed. And I think this movie actually may have been released in 1982. If I'm not, I think originally I thought it was released in 81. I think it may have been, but it might have been, I don't know. I don't know the whole story. It doesn't really matter. But anyways, Midnight for week 31 here on the 81 series. I will be back next week, of course, with the film. I do not know what it's going to be. Thank you for watching, subscribing. Peace out, homies.